Hello, everyone, and welcome to History with Matt. Today, we're going back on the new campaign trail, and we're going to be playing the new 2010 Massachusetts special election to the United States Senate. This is a really interesting election, and one that has always had a bit of an interest in my mind. We're going to be playing as Scott Brown against Martha Coakley. Now, some of the big issues in this race are going to be the Affordable Care Act. Some things that are going to come up here are some of the mistakes that Martha Coakley made to lose a state as blue as Massachusetts. If we look at, if we look at 2012 presidentially, 2012, Obama won the state by 23 points, and this was against Mitt Romney, who, as we know, Mitt Romney served as Massachusetts governor, and he couldn't even win a single county. If you look at the Senate election immediately prior to this was Ted Kennedy's seat. Ted Kennedy died, an icon of the Democratic Party. He won every single county and won in a landslide. So this election shouldn't be close, but a lot of it has to do with Brown's unique strength as a candidate, his ability to be socially moderate, physically conservative, but to the point that he runs as a Washington outsider. He runs as a you know me, you get to know me. I don't come off as elitist. That's something that Martha Coakley suffered from. Is the whole Fenway. What do you expect me to do? Stand outside Fenway Park and shake hands with voters? Stuff like that. There may seem out of touch. We'll probably hit on a couple of these issues as we get along the way. And Martha Coakley fires attack ads on him towards the end of the campaign, trying to hit him for suggesting that he wouldn't allow stuff about abortion, stuff about gay marriage. We'll have to realize we're running in Massachusetts. But with all that out of the way, I think we'll just get straight into it. Play 2010 Massachusetts Senate. On August 25th, 2009, Senator Ted Kennedy died of brain cancer after serving in the Senate for almost 47 years. Acting Senator Paul Kirk has pledged that he will not be a candidate in the special election, leaving the seat open. Kennedy's passing comes at a pivotal moment in Obama's presidency, as the president tries to push through its healthcare plan. Though the healthcare plan faces widespread opposition, it seems well on its way to passing. The only way Obama's agenda could be derailed is if Attorney General Martha Coakley, the Democratic nominee for the special election, manages to lose. But such talk is nothing more than a Republican fantasy. And we're going to be playing as Scott Brown. Now, Scott Brown is a really interesting guy. He ran in 2014 against Jeanne Shaheen in New Hampshire and lost, even in the really red year of 2014. He then served in the Trump administration as the ambassador to New Zealand and Samoa. He endorsed Trump in 2016, one of the first figures to do so, which, so it shows that he's quite a maverick type of person. Scott Brown is the latest candidate that put up by the Massachusetts Republican Party in their attempt at gaining congressional representation in the Senate. While the state senator does have more political experience and holds elected office compared to previous candidates put up by the party, he has little name recognition and is cash-strapped. Oh, and he has a green pickup truck. Despite everything going against him, Brown believes he can win. His moderate republicanism is well suited for deep blue Massachusetts. His opponent has gone to sleep under the belief that the race will be a shoo-in for her. And even in Massachusetts, Obama's healthcare plan is widely controversial. If he can play off these factors, he may just end up pulling an upset. The Obama had a supermajority. He had 60 Senate seats. With the flipping of Arden Specter to the Republican Party, or to the Democratic Party from the Republican Party. And this kind of derails that by him being the 41st, so there was the ability for a filibuster. The Massachusetts GOP. A long time ago, the predominantly white Protestant Republican Party dominated Massachusetts, standing tall against Catholic hordes and the Democratic Party that represented them. But since the New Deal, the party has gradually lost its grip on the state. Today, the party is in the minority in the Massachusetts legislature and has zero congressional representation. The last time Republicans won the state in the presidential election was nearly 26 years ago. The governor's office is perhaps the only attainable position for the party, mainly won by moderate Republicans with physically conservative views, as demonstrated by the victories of Bill Weld, Paul Pelosi, and Mitt Romney, of course. statewide politics does not translate to the national level, and you have to explain the anger among independents and even discontented Democrats if you want to even the polls. Yeah, so Bill Weld is another guy who ran, Mitt Romney ran against Ted Kennedy, lost. It was closer, but he lost. Bill Weld ran against John Kerry, lost. So this is is normal for governors to run up against, or people who were governor to run up against, but they do better, but they don't end up winning. Last time a Republican senator was elected to Massachusetts, I think prior to this, was Edward Brooke, the Black Republican in 1972. I think. Default winner takes all, and we'll just get straight into this. Now, if we look at the map, as you can see, Plymouth County, this is the most Republican county, I think, in the state, even to this day. Yeah, it's up there. Bristol County is close, but it was the most Republican in 2016. 2012 was the most Republican. So it does show that, I think it was one in 2018, Jeff Deal, who isn't a moderate Republican, won it against Elizabeth Warren. And Scott Brown did eventually lose to her. He did vastly overperform, losing by, I think, 7, while Obama won the state by 23. A major overperformance, shows how strong of a candidate he was. Well, we'll get into it here. Question 1. As expected, you've easily swept aside perennial candidate Jack Robinson to win the Republican nomination for US Senate. What would you like to emphasize in your victory speech? Now, again, we have to play this smart. We have to be campaign as a moderate Republican. We have to as an outsider, as a me, not partisan, not socially conservative, not even very physically conservative, not even a member of the Tea Party. We have to play this smart. And we will go with, it's time to vote out the same old political machine that runs your state and elect an outsider in touch with people. I'm Scott Brown. I'm nobody Sanders but yours. This is harking on the famous saying in one of the debates. He was asked a question about the Kennedy seat, because John F. Kennedy served in it, then Ted Kennedy, and he was saying, how would you fit in the Kennedy seat? He said, this isn't the Kennedy seat. This isn't the Democrat seat. This is the people's seat. And that became a major rallying cry for his campaign. Framing yourself as an outsider against the establishment is an excellent way of appealing to independents, a key block necessary for any Republican victory in Massachusetts. Attorney General Martha Coakley, who is widely expected to win the election, has won the Democratic nomination easily and has positioned herself as a liberal in support of Obama's policies. What do you have to say about her? Now, we can't really attack her directly, but we will say rather than directly attacking Coakley, I want to instead make an attack on one-party rule in Massachusetts. We've had 3 speakers indicted. Do we really want to continue allowing the machine to trample the people of the state? Americans across the political spectrum are disillusioned at the establishment, and tying Coakley to it is a good way of playing off said feelings. How does that make us do in the polls? We're doing well in Plymouth County and doing well in Worcester County. Most Republicans are written off your campaign, and even your campaign team only hopes to put up a respectable performance. Your campaign is severely underfunded, and you'll need a way to spread your message. We need to get now. The truck was a major symbol of the campaign. We need to get out there and directly talk to the people. I got a truck, and we'll travel the state and shake hands with voters. While it isn't much, you slowly begin building an audience of Republicans, Independents, and even Democrats disillusioned with the system. Your truck also becomes a symbol of the campaign, which it did. As you can see, we're doing quite well. It's no secret that the economy remains a critical issue among voters, and the nation tries to move itself past the financial crisis. What will be your economic platform? I'm pragmatic about this, and I believe it's important to work across the aisle. I'm willing to work across the aisle on issues such as financial reform, but I oppose any large handouts or higher taxes. This is a moderate take that generally goes well for most, but hardline fiscal conservatives wish you'd go further. We're in Massachusetts, not Texas or any sort of really deep red state. Just like your previous political campaigns, your opponents have brought up one of the few mementos of your youth, a picture of you modelling nude in Cosmopolitan magazine and winning the title of Sexiest Man in America. Following your primary victory has gone viral and has made the rounds on the internet. We're not rolling in deep southern conservative, socially conservative, like Alabama and the deep south. No, we're rolling in Massachusetts, very socially liberal. Oh, please. Yeah. Just as my campaign spokesperson did what I was a young college student who needed to pay the bills, and besides, the picture is pretty tame. It may be better to just ignore this controversy. Obama's healthcare plan is still being debated in the Senate, with talks of the public option being taken off the table. With your healthcare reform shaping the late Sanders Kennedy's legacy, it is sure to play an important part in the campaign. What is your stance on healthcare reform? I think the healthcare reform is necessary, but this bill is wrong. It needs to be sent back to the drawing board, and I'm willing to work on a compromise. There's a good bipartisan answer that helps you reach out to voters outside the Republican base, even if die-hard political conservatives want you to go further. A financial crisis is still in the minds of Americans, and many in Congress are calling for increased regulation and accountability. What are your thoughts on financial reform? A couple of regulations may be needed to ensure nothing like this happens again with the banks, but we cannot go overboard and impose government control. A moderate answer like this generally pleases most. You won't lose any with this type of statement. And we're doing quite well at the moment. Popular vote. We're getting closer, but we're still not there yet. 2001, you refer to the idea of gay couples having children as not normal, and naturally it comes up again with Massachusetts LGBT community condemning your remarks. Now, again, we have to play this. I deeply apologise to the members of the LGBT community for this statement. I would like to reiterate my support for civil unions. There's a bit of a turnaround on the issue, but generally it goes well, and you do receive some praise for your change of heart. The war in Afghanistan remains a critical issue, with debates on whether a troop surge is necessary or if the war is unwinnable. What is your position on the war as of now? I think how things are just fine. A troop surge isn't really necessary, but believe withdrawing is unwise. I do support further intelligence to thwart any terrorist attacks and to protect our troops. This is a moderate position that is well supported by the average voter, while also strengthening your tough on terror image. Again, moderate. That's what we need. You and Coakley are not the only ones in the race. Joseph L. Kennedy, yes, a libertarian unrelated to the Kennedy family, has also thrown his hat in the ring as an independent candidate. His presence could potentially draw hardline conservatives away from the Republican camp. Now, some voters who went to the polls did vote for Kennedy, not because he was a libertarian, but because he had the Kennedy name. And this is Massachusetts, after all. We don't need to give his campaign attention. We'll just continue pushing for physical responsibility, and we'll have these people in our camp. Chances are the only people who are really going to be attracted to Kennedy are people who believe he's a part of the Kennedy family, so it's best not to give him any attention. You're consolidating the conservative base anyway. We're doing quite well. The first debate involving you, Coakley, and Joseph Kennedy is concluded, and one of the key moments in it is your defence of waterboarding as a method of interrogation sparking controversy. How would you like to address this issue? I support fair action for terrorism, and I believe handing terrorists over to the military and giving these men military lawyers is fair action. Furthermore, I think the military should only resort to techniques such as waterboarding only when necessary. Moderating your rhetoric while keeping the same position is a smart move and does a good job planting any potential damage this could do you. How are we doing? Now we're doing quite well. Tea Party movement has increasingly dominant within the Republican Party as a strong opponent of the Obama administration. How would you like to affiliate yourself with the movement? I want to directly appeal to them, but let's keep hammering the need for physical restraint and our outsider rhetoric. Good heads, this allows you to increase turnout among Republicans while also keeping independent voters uneasy with some of the Tea Party's more fringe base. Well, it's the last debate of the campaign, and Ted Kennedy's legacy has now been brought up. The late senator made healthcare reform a long-term goal of his, and why wouldn't you oppose reform while running for his seat? It's not the Kennedy seat, it's the people's seat. It's up to them to send whoever represents them best, and I will represent them as a true independent thinker. A strong response that lands perfectly. The people's seat becomes a rallying cry for your supporters and becomes a defining message of the campaign. Yeah, as we see, if you know your history and you know the state of this race, you will know that you'll know how to win this. You've lobbied several attacks on Coakley for being out of touch and and taking the people for granted. Now it seems that she has decided to help reinforce the image of herself. After being criticised for not campaigning hard enough, she recently made a remark mocking the idea of shaking hands with voters outside Fenway, in the cold outside Fenway Park, giving you an opening to attack her. Let's not attack her. Let's avoid talking about this and let the media do the talking. We'll sit back and watch Coakley shoot herself in the foot. It's best not to fumble anything and let Coakley drag herself to ruin. To your supporters and even some Democrats, it's clear that Coakley is incredibly out of touch. Your once doomed campaign has taken off for Republicans, independents, and even disillusioned Democrats, united by their opposition to the establishment, rallying around you. Coakley, desperate to turn the tide, has begun actively campaigning and is choosing to run ads, criticising your comments regarding the amendment you sponsored, allowing hospitals to deny emergency contraceptive to rape victims if it conflicted with their beliefs. These ads are highly misleading and completely inaccurate. Contraception can still be administered by other personnel, and the decision ultimately comes down to the hospital. Coakley's ads are misleading, and even liberal fact-checkers point this out. Though most die-hard liberals are probably never going to vote for you, will continue to harp up on this. It won't do much to hurt you, especially as Coakley continues to shoot herself in the foot. Democrats, desperate to prevent Kennedy's seat from falling into your hands, have begun to bring in the full might of the party to rescue Coakley. Big names such as President Obama and Clinton have become stumping for Coakley, and many are suggesting you do the same. Not Sarah Palin, not Romney, Bill Weld. Having Mayor Rudy Giuliani on the campaign show would be a perfect way to counter the Democratic big names and stress my tough on terrorism positions. Giuliani is perhaps the best high-profile name that you could ask for, that appeals to both independents and Republicans, while also giving you campaign credibility on foreign policy. How's that making us do? Ooh. Nearly won, nearly there. The race is coming down the wire, and you're going to need all the help you can get. You'll need to secure more funding as the election day draws closer. Let's stick with our grassroots campaign and get in touch with conservative groups across the country. We don't need the Washington establishment to win this. Conservative grassroots organisations help you gain a massive war chest while also allowing you to stick to your outsider credentials. You have enough money to run a more traditional campaign, though, of course, you also continue campaigning with your truck. Coakley has recently made another gaffe during a radio interview, came in Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling, one of your supporters, a Yankee fan, earning the Attorney General more mockery. This has to be a joke. I mean, how out of touch is he? Let's let Curt take a swing at it and maybe make a couple of jokes about it. Curt laws several attacks on Coakley's aloofness and in later missteps, such as withdrawing several ads as a result of spelling mistakes, that lead to every Democratic operative in the country banging their heads against the wall. As the special election draws to a close, what would you like to emphasise the most? We need a true independent voice in the Senate, one who represents the people. I'm Scott Brown. I'm from Renton. I drive a truck. I'm an independent thinker running to represent you, not the establishment. Emphasising your independent image and anti-establishment position is a good way of netting independence in the last stretch of the campaign. What's the map looking like? All eyes are on Massachusetts as Republican Democrats continue to pour all their resources into snagging Kennedy's seat. What will you do in the final hours? We finally have money coming in this pump-out campaign as to get our message across the state. Named Scott Brown, once little known to most, has now widely been recognised as a man who has a truck and is running for Senate. Now we can only watch and hope you come out on top. Let's see. I think we won it. I think we've answered it mostly historically. He did campaign with, I don't think Sarah Palin did, but he campaigned with Governor Bill Weld, incredibly popular, Governor Romney, or former Governor Romney, and Rudy Giuliani, who at this point was not a controversial figure and was actually widely liked. Essex County, Plymouth County, Middlesex, or Worcestershire, Berkshire, Hampshire County. There's Middlesex. I think that's where Martha Coakley's from. Nantucket's Nantucket Coast. Yeah, Nantucket is close. Suffolk, which is where Boston, you got 34%. If you're doing that as a Republican, you're going to win. Dukes County, it all comes down to Scott hurled across the board. We've won against all odds. You defeated Coakley and won county seat. It seems like the people have spoken out against arrogance and irresponsibility of Washington, and your victory has certainly sent them a message. Across the nation, Conservatives cheer as a so-called Massachusetts miracle, and in time, the Republican Party will sweep the 2010 midterms and win control of the House of Representatives. The Democrats are in complete disarray as they attempt to salvage the healthcare bill, while strategists argue whether it was Coakley's campaigning or Democratic governments that led them to lose county seat. As for yourself, you can set your eyes on becoming the first Republican senator of Massachusetts in over 3 decades. Just keep in mind that you'll have to win again in 2012 if you want a full term. As you can see, we actually did slightly worse than Brown. We lost by 10,000 votes and she gained a wee bit, but we still won. Didn't narrowly win Hamilton County. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video and enjoyed my commentary on a wee monologue on the 2010 Massachusetts special race, please consider subscribing. It would do the channel a lot of good. If you consider liking the video, and yeah, I will continue to make more of these. I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying trying to make it a wee bit better. If you have any suggestions how to make it better, please leave a comment. But I've been History with Matt. Thank you for watching.